And honorable colleagues, go to their expenditure on fuel and motor vehicle. But honorable colleagues, still note that it was a disservice and intentional for this entity to fail to give a breakdown of their activities. How do you fail to quantify these activities and motor vehicle maintenance? In the whole year, you spent 1.3 billion on fuel vehicles do you have in that ministry? And how could you fail to give a breakdown on how you intend to spend this fuel? How do you fail to allocate? Do we have departments? You have. Why did we fail to quantify this and know how much money is spent here, where, and there? Don't you think this was intentional to hide information?
Chair, this planner here should know that this is Parliament. Next time you come around, you have a, what do we call it, our dress code. Yes, really that is, you have to appear in a necktie so that we separate you from a tailor seller. A tile seller in Chikubu.
That. For us, we thought he was very smart.
No, he's for this meeting. And for all the colleagues, whenever you are coming to Parliament, dress official. But we can proceed.
I wish to draw you to Annex 6.
That is which page? Not numbered.
And I wish to say that we did quantify under the quarterly work plans. Now, when it came to the PAP output, we did a generalization of the output, something which was wrong. And I must
generalize the output.
I must admit that. That because in the PBS, we use a system to do these budgets, the program budgeting system. So what happened is that in the quarterly work plan, we would go on to do the quantification. And in the annual output, PAP output, we were generalizing the quantification, something that we learned, and moving forward, we shall improve on this. I really apologize for this, but I must say that when you look through the quarterly work plan, everything is well quantified. In the annual output, there was a generalization of the output, and this is what is causing us problems. And it's regrettable.
As we do regret that, you must know that practically, if you deny auditors information, first of all, that is criminal. Meaning, you know, the auditor must have access to information. And much as you are saying you had the quarterly, one would ask, what do you use, which information do you use for normal operation? Because much as you had to consolidate in the other general one, but practically as you do execute some of these activities in the course of the quarter, what do you use, what do you base on? For the accounting officer to pay, say, this department, give them this fuel, give them this. That is what in simplicity we want. For example, the department, say, of administration consumes fuel for, say, 3 million. That's what we want. This department, finance, consumes fuel for these how many millions? That is what quantification calls for. And for us, we are here for accountability. Specifically, how did you use the money that we were allocated to? But when you give a block figure of 1.3 billion under fuel, one would ask, how was this fuel consumed? And when you look at the activities, honorable colleagues, when you look at this table, 76% of their budget of the 38 billion is consumed within all this. And when it comes, when you look at this statement down, this leaves only 9.3 billion for department activities. When you remove all this, you remain with only 9.3 billion for department activities, meaning department activities consume 24% of your budget. But now, before we even get there, give us a breakdown of how you use your fuel. You want to know how many cars do you have? Because 1.3 billion for MEACA is a lot of money. Tell us, how do you utilize this fuel?
Well,
I want to tell them that part of this money was 480 million for chemical. We have another fleet.
Chairperson, through you, can you run that figure? 1 billion by 12 divided by 30.
Do all that. You team, why don't you do, madam? You've been around for quite some time. Don't do these simple things. Let them do.
It is. It's how much?
It can't be.
It can't be.
It cannot. We are talking about 1.3 billion for a year. Every month.
115 million in fuel consumption per day is how much? 3.8 million per day.
No, does every officer have a vehicle? So 8 million of fuel per day.
No, that's wrong, Chair. Honorable Chair, part of this money has the vehicle.
Do you see the challenges of failure to quantify? Because we would have seen the component, and you also did, this is a disservice. You had to add fuel and maintenance. Do these things move together?
There, madam. Fuel and motor vehicle
maintenance.
Yeah.
So for us, how do we know how much went for maintenance and how much went for fuel?
480 million is for motor vehicle maintenance.
Where
Chair, I must also say,
where is that?
No, out of the 1.3 billion.
I'm looking at the table.
Million is motor vehicle maintenance.
Where is that in the table?
From page 14.
From page 14, where is the 480 you are talking about?
But sir, even 400, you are saying 400 and what? 480 million repairs of vehicles. Yes, the whole year. I can break it down for you for a month. You break it down. You see when you say, 40 million per month. You are repairing vehicles. How many millions per day? Even that is obnoxious. You said it casual. Even that is a little on the upper side. That 40 million, you spend it every month to repair vehicles.
We have a very old fleet.
How many vehicles do you have?
Breaking down almost every.
How many vehicles do you have?
We have 28.
But you have old fleet. What is the policy on the management of fleets? Government's policy? How many years do you bond them off? Because ideally, government cannot have an old fleet.
Chair, we have a ban on purchase.
No, we are saying.
You have a ban on purchase.
No, wait a minute. But what is the government's policy on the aging of a fleet, of a vehicle?
I think it is 5 years, but
5
then
years.
You can't sell and you have nothing to use.
So why do you maintain a vehicle outside the recommended period? Which is costly. No. Your policy says after 5.
This team might, good enough, they might move you to drive your vehicles to the parking. And we
see
verify how old they are. Hey, and you can do it. The parking is so big.
Can we have them here?
we can, and fuel will be at our cost from Kingdom Kampala to here.
But madam, they drive vehicles. We drive 20 years old. Model 2010, 2015, those are 10 years old model, used cars. But that budget of 40 million would still be on the upper side. How many vehicles do you have? 28. So how often does each one gets? One point. So each vehicle takes 1.4 million per month, on average, to repair. Every day 120 20,000 to repair your vehicles.
Honorable Chair, this is a very, you are going to be a pilot on everything, because you've told us you have a very old fleet that makes you spend a lot of money in repairs. What will happen if I tell you to drive those vehicles here, so that we don't waste a lot of time to move to where you park? And you bring the vehicles so that we can see how to help you, by the way. You can...
After all, they are just 28.
we are going to tell them to push out all the vehicles that are in that parking to ensure that you bring MEACA vehicles. You know, it's the people, and that is what we want, so that we can help government. And it is risky for you to drive all the vehicles.
Yes. Madam Chair, that is good. Don't look at it in the negative. When the recommendation will be support this entity to replace this vehicle.
And by the way, we are going to tell you,
good for you.
Accounting officer, the vehicles are old, and we don't want to risk your life.
So may I move the motion? No, I move the motion that the 28 vehicles
be driven in. We want to help you.
No, don't worry. For us, we have top security here. Sergeant at Arm will clear for you a parking of 20 vehicle space. 28. 28 is a small space. And we assemble them tomorrow morning. So that tomorrow before starting.
By the way, when we are here for issues of accountability, there is no vehicle that cannot come to this place, because we want to save the lives of your bosses. By the way, we cannot risk you being in a very old vehicle. And by the way, this is a cost to government and yourselves. So we are before we end.
Can I ask, just, do you also do the fueling on this budget?
Yeah.
Eh? You do, eh?
So now you understand.
So we are going to move to. So we are no, we have not moved. We might end up having them here so that we can verify and see how old those vehicles are. But we have taken note that you are a ministry that can be used for pilot in almost every area, especially on issues of rent, issues of fuel, and issues of we applauded you for saving the 8 million on water, and we shall learn from you. Parliament will benchmark from MEACA on how best we can cut down the costs of utilities. By the way, you are the only entity that doesn't have domestic arrears in these other areas. Is that true? Apart from the pension and gratuity, you don't have arrears in these other utilities and what? Is that true? Auditor, when you audited them, you only indicated arrears in the line of gratuity and pension. Do they have domestic arrears in some other areas?
Chairs will leave that point. As of interest in terms of policy, would be to have especially top civil servant that after some reshuffle scale down in terms of ranking. You've been a vice president and you've been a speaker. You appointed a minister and you agreed to serve. And you want to move with your own paraphernalia, details which you had, person to order which you had when you were serving in the other capacity. No. It's not beyond Parliament to look at in terms of policy. We've got to draw a line. Because as you're having the aging president, you're having aging leaders, along the way, it becomes unmanageable for people to leave these top offices. They don't want, in others, you've served the country, you go home. But if you want now to remain, and you are there, you are also entitled to gratuity, because they enjoy benefits of former vice president, former speaker, former this, former this. Then you have accepted to be a minister. Don't burden the citizens and the budget of the country with the detail you had while you were a speaker, while you were vice president. It's something in our report we need to really recommend, that those who want to take up and scale down, they also scale down on their detail. Otherwise, you are not going to remain with the other detail you had while you served as a former. I know in the political bargain, they bargain, you are moving me, please leave me with your details. But it comes with a cost to the citizens. That's what the net effect of this. So that policy does not affect the individual minister at hand as one, but equally others. So, Madam Chair, I would recommend in our internal, when we are doing our report, we come very strong on that. Otherwise, they're entitled to benefits. Me now, I'm a deputy president of NOP. You are not about to now to make me a minister or a secretary for Bakade. I'll tell you, I've served as a vice president at that level. I'll remain an advisor. I've left. So there's no way I'm not going to go back and take the other lower rank. No way. So that's what elsewhere happens. You've served as a prime minister. Of course, in Britain, Cameron made a comeback as is he now a minister? David Cameron. He came back he doesn't have the detail of a former prime minister. He's just as an ordinary minister as any other, and entitled to the details as his current status. But you cannot be in a world where you've died and then you want to live again.
Chair, I refer to page 47. Are you there, sir? Much as the chair, you have been applauding them for not having outstanding commitment. But when I open that, I see something there. So you are 47 of the accounts. Utilities, 67.9 million. Then rent, 3.5. So you had earlier indicated for the benchmarking.
So I withdraw.
I beg that you withdraw that statement.
What are these? Because even on page 36 under the notes, that is not under note 28 on payables. You have 67 million on payables, utilities. What is this for? Electricity. So you return money for water and fail to pay for electricity. For water you saved, but you fail to pay for electricity and money is swept back. What kind of planning is that? So explain, madam. You know, I've just liked you for one thing, is being genuine, eh?
Genuine.
You say things the way they are. And I request that as we proceed, continue doing like that. But plan, how do we, because having utilities, areas of 67 million, this is a lot of money. This is too much. Electricity. Have you planned to clear them in this financial? What has happened? All the current?
Well, in as far as next financial year is concerned, Honorable Chair, we did receive, I think it's 20 million towards payment, partial payment of the utility arrears. And yeah.
So that means you'll still have some more 40 million, 40 something. Then you also have arrears on contributions to international organizations. Auditor, how did you miss out on making a statement on domestic arrears on their part? Because we want these things to come out. This is people's money. For at least you are lucky for goods and services you don't have. But for utilities, really, pay national water. Pay them. And to international organizations, why don't you pay? 1.2 billion arrears. Which organizations are these?
The ESC Secretariat.
The ES Secretariat.
LVFO.
Why don't you withdraw?
Organization.
If you cannot pay, why don't you withdraw?
No, we are going to settle.
You're going to settle how? You failed to settle the 67 million for utilities, and you think you will settle the 1.2 billion for international organizations. Honorable colleagues, when we were interfacing with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we realized that we have over 100 billions arrears, 100 billion arrears on issues of failure to subscribe to international organizations. This means as a country, we need to scale down and subscribe to those that we can afford. Others, 100 billion arrears on, subscription alone. That is very unacceptable. So with this one, we shall be relatively fair on you because it's not you alone. But I mean, sort out yourselves because this is your budget. We cannot lump it up to... Yes, Honorable Chair.
But Chair, one of the things, you embarrass yourself. On so many other international forums, you go there, members. We have a case where the whole vice president went to a conference somewhere along the tomorrow, and you don't even have a seat of the whole country, and you are somehow funds are to be mobilized on a Sunday for her to be able to be part of a conference on Monday. So it's very embarrassing, this one, for failure to pay membership fees and obligations. I don't know why you are comfortable and we hear you are East African Affairs.
We are not comfortable.
Yes.
Very well compared to others who are not paying.
Others like who?
Burundi.
Now you compare Uganda to Burundi. Be fair. How do you compare us to Burundi? You're about to compare us with South Sudan. Don't take us to that level. If you start, so you are moving downwards. I'm telling you, you sit and compare yourselves to Burundi. My PS, no.
Full members.
I know they are full members, but I mean we've literally moved ahead of them. So at least if you compared yourself to Kenya, those are slightly ahead of you, but you move to compare yourself ESC. But you compare yourself to Burundi and South Sudan.
But the PS, are you comfortable to compare yourself to your sweeper?
No, he's a member.
No, he is a member, but not of your level. And let me tell you one thing. If there is a country that was respected in the ESC, was Uganda. Yes. Because for you, even on the subscription for the East African community, you had contributed 100%. Others were in negatives. So next time, really, you don't have to compare us with the...
We shall improve.
It is a very big embarrassment. So don't compare us with the Burundi and the ESC, Ismani Congo. We can't get to that level. But, pensioner, honorable colleagues, we are on 3.1. There is a pensioner who had arrears of 57 million, and they have a balance of 12 million for that pensioner. They say, sir, we want that evidence that you paid.
We shall provide that. HR, let's have some information on that.